We're talking about the WNBA, WWE Raw Circus.
Caitlyn Clark was just assaulted bad. This is the worst one ever, bro. She was literally poked in the eye, then pushed to the ground by Marina Mabrey.
Enough is enough.
What is going on? WNBA, y'all need to get this under control. This is ridiculous.
WNBA is a freaking joke.
A non-basketball play getting shoved to the ground, and it's just a technical foul.
This league is out of control.
She was clawed in the eye by Jacy Sheldon, then slammed to the ground by Marina Mabrey like it was football.
Jacy Sheldon claws her in the eye, then the two of them get into it, and then Mabrey just goes and shoves her onto the ground.
Marina Mabrey, this is ridiculous.
Not basketball. And the refs, they look the other way.
The referee does nothing. She does nothing.
These effing reps, this effing league. This is Jacy Sheldon right here with an entire handful of Caitlyn Clark's shoulder and bicep, and she's twisting it.
No ejections, no protection. Caitlyn Clark, the face of the league, assaulted in broad daylight, and somehow she got a technical too. If this isn't proof the WNBA hates her.
So many of these incidents are happening towards Indiana Fever players, particularly Caitlyn Clark.
What else do you need? If you're riding with Caitlyn, drop CC 100% in the comments, because after what just happened, she needs us louder than ever.
Caitlyn is the one.
No comparison to Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn Clark is the most must-watch basketball player in world basketball right now. There's nobody that does what Caitlyn Clark does.
She's the biggest basketball star in the world.
How special and rare Caitlyn Clark is.
It didn't feel like basketball. Caitlyn Clark was bringing the ball up, doing what she does best, directing the floor, setting the tempo. But what came next wasn't defense. It was violence.
Jacy Sheldon is guarding Caitlyn, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlyn's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlyn pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlyn Clark to the ground.
Jacy Sheldon, who had already been guarding her with excessive aggression, suddenly reached across and raked her hand directly into Caitlyn's face, scratching her right across the eye.
Jacy Sheldon right here, she's going to give Caitlyn Clark the Dejanay Carrington eye gouge. And then Marina Mabrey's going to come in like some thug off the street and pull a Kennedy Carter on Caitlyn Clark. There's the eye gouge, okay? And there's Mabrey right there with the hip check, the shove. That's the eye gouge. And then right there. Good God almighty.
This wasn't a missed swipe at the ball. This was an eye gouge. Caitlyn flinched, grabbed her face. It was visible, obvious, deliberate.
Jacy Sheldon scratched her in the eye. Like, she literally, you can see it here. She's just clawed her.
Before she could even recover, Marina Mabrey charged in out of nowhere.
Marina Mabrey basically just did what Kennedy Carter did on a whole nother level.
Caitlyn didn't even have the ball, yet Mabrey barreled into her hip first, full speed, slamming her to the ground like a linebacker. No contest, no play on the ball. Just a hit, a blindside hit. It happened in front of everyone. Players, referees, cameras, and fans. And still, the officials did almost nothing.
Mind you, Jacy Sheldon has been hitting Caitlyn in the face all game, fouling all game. The refs don't care. The refs act like their whistles are broke. She's fouling her nonstop again, hits her in the face.
Sheldon wasn't ejected. Mabrey wasn't ejected. Incredibly, Caitlyn Clark was the one who got a technical foul.
She just got clawed in the face and then knocked on her ass. Like, you have to eject her. If you want to give Caitlyn Clark a technical foul.
The person who got assaulted got penalized. Fans in the crowd were outraged. Commentators couldn't believe it. Viewers online immediately exploded, demanding answers. But the refs spent nearly 15 minutes reviewing the incident.
The refs don't call nothing. She been hit in the face 8-9 times before this.
And still didn't throw either player out. Just a flagrant one and a couple of technicals. That's it.
Jacy Sheldon has to be ejected. If Jacy Sheldon intentionally scratches somebody in the eye, there's no question about that is intentional. If you want to call Mabrey's a flagrant one, call it a flagrant one. Mabrey's should have been a flagrant two. But Jacy Sheldon's is, no question about it, ejection and suspension.
Caitlyn Clark got scratched in the eye and hip checked to the floor. And somehow the league treated her like the problem. And here's the most infuriating part. This wasn't random. It had been brewing the entire game. Sheldon had been physical from the opening tip. Trash talk, hard fouls, constant contact. It wasn't basketball, it was bullying.
Hey, Caitlyn's reaction, Jacy Sheldon is literally just grabbing and scratching Caitlyn the whole game.
Marina Mabrey exploding Caitlyn Clark like a safety coming downhill in the NFL. There was no flop there. Marina Mabrey did a straight beeline run to Caitlyn Clark and checked her. You got Lexi Hull saying, Jacy, what the hell is wrong with you? This was all game, folks. All game. Caitlyn Clark and the Indiana Fever were getting checked. All game. The Indiana Fever were getting punked. All game. The referees let this physical style of basketball continue and continue and continue and continue and continue and continue.
And when Caitlyn finally pushed back, they escalated. The hit wasn't just physical, it was personal, and the silence from the league made it worse. They let it happen. The referees stood by and watched. There was no protection, no accountability, no justice.
Referees need to do their jobs, blow the whistle, and officiate properly, hand out flagrants, kick people out of games, but continuously we see Caitlyn Clark on the receiving end of something, and it's not called correctly.
But Caitlyn, she didn't stay down. After all that, she wiped her face, got up, and drained a deep three. Then she turned to the opposing bench and yelled, "You like that?" It wasn't just about the shot, it was about everything. The fouls, the disrespect, the hate. It was a message. She's not going anywhere. This league might let it slide. The refs might look away. But Caitlyn Clark, she's going to keep showing up, taking the hits and lighting it up. Because she's not just playing through the contact, she's exposing it. You'd think after a blatant eye gouge and a full-speed blindside hit,
Jacy Sheldon is guarding Caitlyn Clark. She swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlyn Clark nudges her off because Jacy stays in her face. And then Tina Charles runs over and is kind of wagging her finger in Caitlyn Clark's face. And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor.
the league would step in and send a clear message. This isn't acceptable. But they didn't. They did the opposite. They let it slide. And worse, they punished Caitlyn Clark instead of protecting her. The moment the referees handed out that technical to Caitlyn, they exposed a double standard that's been simmering all season.
The referees are going to review the play. So the 3 referees that I like to say, they got them straight out of Sephora because I don't think these referees have ever refereed a professional basketball game in their life. They looked at it for, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like 15 minutes.
She's taken elbows, shoulder checks, body slams, and now even fingers to the eye. And yet time and time again, she's the one getting called for technicals, the one being told to calm down, the one being told to adjust. Let's break down what actually happened in that moment. After reviewing the plays, slow motion replays from multiple angles, the officials had every reason to eject both Sheldon and Mabrey.
Caitlyn Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlyn, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And Jacy Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
The contact wasn't incidental. It wasn't competitive. It was targeted. And everyone saw it. Fans in the stands were booing. Social media was demanding ejections. Even the broadcasters couldn't stay neutral. They were shocked. But instead, the refs issued a flagrant 1 to Sheldon and a technical to Mabrey.
There should be a flagrant 1, of course, on Jacy Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant call foul.
And unbelievably, a technical to Caitlyn too. Why? Because she reacted? Because she dared to speak up after being physically assaulted? That's not officiating, that's cowardice. And this isn't just a referee problem. It's bigger than that. It's a league problem.
How was that the call? After 15 minutes of deliberating, that's what you call? 3 texts and a flagrant 1? That's it?
Because it keeps happening over and over. Kennedy Carter, Angel Reese, now Jacy Sheldon, and Marina Mabrey. Different players, same result. Cheap shots toward Caitlyn with little or no consequence. Where's the WNBA's leadership in all of this? Where's the league office issuing suspensions or statements? Where's the commissioner drawing the line? Nowhere. And that silence, that inaction, it's permission. It tells every team and every player that it's open season on Caitlyn Clark, that you can claw at her, slam her to the floor, and you won't be held accountable. You won't even be ejected. Even worse, it tells Caitlyn that no one is coming to help.
Marina Mabrey body checking Caitlyn Clark to the ground. Jacy Sheldon all over her, riding her. Pokes Caitlyn Clark in the eye.
That her teammates have to protect her. That she's not just fighting defenders, she's fighting a system that doesn't want her to win. And why? Why is she treated differently? Because she's new? Because she's white? Because she's popular in a way the league wasn't ready for? Because she brings in fans from outside the usual crowd? Whatever the reason, the resentment is real. You can feel it. You can see it every time she touches the ball and someone takes a cheap shot. And you can hear it every time a ref swallows the whistle. And here's what makes it worse. The league knows exactly what she means to them. Without Caitlyn Clark, viewership drops. Headlines vanish, ticket sales dip. Ratings have already shown a 55% drop when she's not on the court.
Dished out 9
That's more than
assists to
star
become the
power.
first player in
That's the
WNBA
backbone
history
of your
to
business.
have 100
And yet
points,
they
30
treat her like
rebounds,
she's
30
disposable.
assists
This
in a
was
player's
bullshit,
first
bro. This
5
league is a
games
fucking joke.
of
What is
a
happening here?
season.
Like her presence is a problem, not a gift. Like they'd rather see her quiet and hurt than loud and leading. This is how leagues lose stars. Not through injury, through betrayal. And fans see it. They see the difference. They see how Caitlyn is being held to a different standard, attacked harder, officiated tighter, and supported less. And they're done being quiet. Every time she gets knocked down, thousands rise up online.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlyn Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlyn Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from 3. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and 1 was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from 3-point range.
Hashtags explode, comment sections flood. And every time the league stays silent, it only grows louder. This isn't about basketball anymore. This is about integrity, about fairness, about a league claiming to be about empowering women while failing to protect the woman who's empowering their future. If this were any other star, if this were someone else getting targeted like this, there would be immediate consequences. But with Caitlyn, it's been nothing but excuses. And still, she shows up. Still, she plays. Still, she takes the hits. But if this continues, if the league keeps turning its back while its brightest light gets stomped on, they're not just failing Caitlyn, they're burning their own house down.
There wasn't an explanation for the tech that she got. I think it was pretty obvious that stuff was brewing, right? When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competitions.
You can only push someone so far before something snaps. And when it became clear that the officials weren't going to protect Caitlyn Clark, her team did. It started with Sophie Cunningham. Late in the game, tensions still boiling, Sophie watched as Jacy Sheldon tried once again to crash into Caitlyn. But this time, someone stepped in. Sophie didn't hesitate. She wrapped Sheldon up mid-drive and sent her to the floor. It was a hard, deliberate foul, And it sent a loud message. Not this time. You don't get to keep hurting her. What happened next said everything. Two Sun players immediately got in Sophie's face. It was 2-on-1 under the basket. Sophie didn't flinch. She squared up and stood her ground like a warrior. She didn't swing. She didn't shove. But her presence was enough to stop the chaos in its tracks. And for the first time in this entire drama, Caitlyn Clark had someone on her side who wasn't afraid to be loud about it. Sophie was ejected, of course. That's the league's pattern. Punish the ones who protect Caitlyn.
Come on, man. Oh my God, bro. This league is a fucking joke. This league is a joke.
But the crowd erupted. Fans roared like they'd been waiting all season for someone to say, enough.
This is Caitlyn Clark. She's going to hit a big three, and you can tell the emotions are high. The Indiana Fever announcers, I will give them credit. That incident with Sophie Cunningham is a direct byproduct of the fact that situation earlier was not handled correctly. It goes to talking shit towards the Connecticut Sun bench. That was a clear message from CC22 right there. This team's had enough.
It wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about principle. Sophie's ejection wasn't shameful. It was heroic. And then the dominoes started to fall. Suddenly, other Fever players, Lexi Hull, Nalissa Smith, even Caitlyn herself, became visibly more fired up. There was shouting, there was shoving, there was a shift. The Indiana Fever, who had been criticized all year for failing to rally behind their rookie star, finally showed teeth. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't clean, but it was real. And while all this was happening, after being scratched in the eye, shoved to the floor, hit with a tech, and watching her teammate get tossed, Caitlyn Clark stayed locked in. She didn't spiral. She didn't break. She came down the floor, pulled up from deep, and drilled a cold-blooded three-pointer.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlyn Clark.
Then with all eyes on her, she turned to the Connecticut bench, face full of fire, and yelled, "You like that?" That moment wasn't just a highlight. It was a transformation. It was the clearest sign yet that no matter how hard they try to knock her down, Caitlyn Clark is here to fight. And the fans? They weren't just watching, they were rallying. Within minutes, clips of the hits, the fouls, and the trash talk were flooding every platform.
See Sheldon guarding up, playing pretty good defense. This is what I was going to give her credit on. She was not allowing Caitlyn to penetrate, get into the paint, deny her the path to the basket, right? Boom, she bumps. Caitlyn drives around. Look, good footwork. Okay, you stand in front of her. I give it to you. Boom, bumps again, spin around. Boom, she's bumping, getting bumpy. And then that happened. I'm like, what was that? What is this play right here, man? Sheldon, what is this right here, fam? No way you just reach for Caitlyn's eyes like that. Her face, whatever the case may be, you reach for her head and you scratch her.
Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and the reaction wasn't mixed. It was outrage. Free Caitlyn, rewash her, and protect Clark. CC 100% people weren't just supporting her, they were calling out the league. Commenters said it felt like watching street ball with uniforms. Others said, if the WNBA doesn't want her, the whole world does. Parents were tweeting about how they didn't want their daughters watching anymore. Broadcasters were openly questioning how long Clark would stay in a league that punishes her for being popular. Because that's the truth hiding underneath all of this. Caitlyn Clark is too big for them to handle and too brave to break.
I said earlier, Caitlyn should just literally go overseas. There's a couple places overseas where they would pay her probably $2 or $3 million, maybe $5 million a year.
Her presence has made the WNBA relevant in a way it hasn't been in decades. She's brought in record ratings, sold-out arenas, national media attention, and still the response from some of her peers in her own league has been cold, jealous, even hostile. And yet she keeps showing up, taking the hits, making the shots, carrying a franchise, elevating the game.
She is just absolutely undeniable.
Caitlyn Clark is just different. Caitlyn Clark is the system.
Caitlyn Clark is
generational talent we've needed.
She is the system.
She's 4th in the league in MVP voting.
Caitlyn Clark is an absolute all-star. She is the Michael Jordan of this. This is the girl that girls have been waiting for forever.
And now she's not alone anymore. Her teammates are stepping in. The fans are speaking out. The country is watching. This moment, this game, may be the turning point. Because it's not just about who won on the scoreboard. It's about the shift in attitude. It's about the line that was crossed and who finally chose to draw one back. Sophie Cunningham's tackle wasn't just a foul. It was a message to the league. If you won't protect her, we will. And Caitlyn's three-pointer, that was her message. I'm not going anywhere. She's not a rookie anymore. She's not the new girl trying to fit in. She's the leader. The one they attack because they can't stop. And now that fire has spread from her team to her fans to every single person who's done staying silent. They tried to shake her. They tried to shut her down. But Caitlyn Clark responded the only way she knows how, with fearless fire.
They got to get control of it. They got to be better. They got to be better. Every year when we have our league meetings in the fall and in the spring, we say the same thing over and over and over. And nothing has changed.
They clawed her in the face. They slammed her to the ground. The refs looked away. The league stayed quiet. And somehow, Caitlyn Clark, who's given everything to this game, was the one punished. But she didn't fold. She stood up. She hit the shot. She sent the message. And now fans everywhere are sending one back. This isn't just about one game. It's about how far a league is willing to go to ignore the obvious and how long one player can carry it on her back. If you believe Caitlyn Clark deserves better, if you're done watching this league pretend she's the problem, drop a CC 100% in the comments. Let them know, because this fight isn't over, and she's not backing down.